Yo,
Big Chef,
ik zou credit.
whatever the meantime.
Crepo, salam.
Sure,
How we have to first get through the fact of how rare it is to have two people that have never met each other to be on a conversation over a topic that was discussed on Facebook.
um, because I don't have you as a Facebook friend, yeah, but Tingumdi was a conversation that I like that. I love conversations like that. I love educational conversations. As a result, lately I'm less on Facebook but more on Twitter, and I'm busy poking people just to come out and have their word.
Yeah, yeah, bro. And I think that's what I'm saying. It's like, especially on social media, conversations like that, they kind of go to shit because a lot of people just, they just want to play around and um, and do what social media is about, which is completely fine. Yeah, well, but it's always a breath of fresh air to just have good, honest conversation about trying to move forward and think about these things because you go on social media and you don't have the conversations, but then you have them in real life anyway. So yeah, thanks for that.
But currently, bro, currently it's a graduation season, right? And I've been seeing a number of graduates down my timeline. And in my mind, I'm like, where are these people when we need to have real conversations of people who have a better insight on these topics? Because half of the day, or even 75% of the day, is just banter, jokes, trends, and all that. There's no real conversation. So it's quite good to meet a person who wants good conversation. I love it.
Yeah, yeah. Is my network good? Can you see me?
Yeah, I see you clearly.
All right, cool, bro. Yeah, no, that's that's very true. It's graduation season, but then you never see them. You never see these people when there needs to be something talked about with regards to regards to difficult conversations.
Yeah.
Perhaps maybe people run away from it because it's too revealing. It's too deep and it's too they deem it unnecessary, which is also fine, I guess. Some people just go to school just to get the qualification and that's it, and they don't want to. It's like if you're doing art, you don't care about what happens in politics, type of thing.
Yeah.
Until politics hits you, and then you go, oh shit, okay, well I should have prepared for that, but now you can't because you weren't that person.
Conversation around the qualification and the knowledge. It actually goes to question the entire system of education. Because if you cannot meet the caliber of an educated person, but you hold the qualification, and we get to undermine people who are knowledgeable but who do not have the paper qualification. So it's one of those conversations. Oh, we'll take a whole day about that one. Let's not go into it because currently, even
Yeah.
people who are educated, they're also trying to get their respect back because currently education is not holding as much respect as it used to. So also they're
Mm.
still trying to fight their back way back to the relevance of the eyes of the people. But on the other side, we're also trying to have educated people who are playing their part in the society in terms of informing the society about the knowledge, the actual knowledge, not the diluted version that is like the trending topic, no, like the actual knowledge.
Yeah, bro. That's interesting that you said that because I find a lot of the times the people that I speak to that come from a non-traditional education background are the most interesting people to speak to because they don't have training, they don't have prior training and what do you call it? It's like a foundation set
Yes,
that is
yes.
set in stone that they can't change. So their thoughts are always based on what they see and what they feed off, and that's also kind of malleable as well because it can change all the time. Yeah, but whereas people that are set in stone, it's almost as if you can take another person that did that same degree on another place and they'll think exactly the same way, and
Yeah.
then you get nowhere. Yeah, but so it's always appreciative to speak to people like that because then it's like their foundations are based on what you do and how you interact with them and how they interact with the world. Yeah, but
Just
whereas again, like I say,
for the sake of the
yeah.
conversation, One person might admire those people who have no background as authentic. Ne? However, it's impossible. It's
Yeah.
impossible to have a person who has no absolute background. You have a background of whatsoever. It might not be relevant to that spoken subject at that particular time. However, everyone has a background. We are products of the society. We are products of the background. We are products of reference, you see. So, in particular basis, you will have a person who do not have a certain background based on a certain subject. However, they do have a background.
Sorry, man. Sorry. Just wait. Someone just give me. Sorry, my brother. Sorry, man.
All right, you
Yeah.
go.
Say that again.
All right,
Yeah.
I was just noting on the network, and I don't want to accuse you on that side because I'm sure my line is bad as well. The weather is not very good outside.
Yeah. No, someone called me, man. I just have to decline the call. Sorry, my man.
All right, all right, all right. So as I was saying, in terms of background, everyone has a standing point. It's a matter
Mm-hmm.
of whether the standing point is relevant to that particular subject that is being discussed on. As much as we
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
appreciate people who have their positions from who have their views from a neutral point of view. Even that
Mm-hmm.
neutral point of view, it stands somewhere. We cannot say
Yeah.
that they actually just come out of
Yeah.
thin air and have the most neutral opinion and the most authentic opinion ever. Whomever
Yes.
you are the product of the master, whether you like it or not. The master be a
Yeah.
society, master be your school, the master be your parents, the master be your
Mm,
church, your master be whatever, but you are the product
mm,
of the
mm,
master. How you come out
mm.
of being from being a student to your authentic being, it's impossible. But it's a
Mm.
whole conversation in philosophy that which you is
Yeah.
being educated because you are made up of all these people, you see. So now,
Yeah. Yeah.
within all that structures that composes you, you need to have one structure that actually stands for you. So in those kind of
Yeah. No, that's
conversations,
cool.
it drags longer and longer.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. That becomes very philosophical and very, very deep because it's like, yeah, because then you can then say that everyone has a brain and we all stem from that. So regardless of whether you studied or not, it's like, well, you still come from your concrete structure is your brain, yeah,
Exactly.
or your body.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, my man. Okay, so that's good. So yeah, so we can go into the cultural debate that we were having online. Yeah, I
Let
think
me
it's
note something before you jump into that.
yeah.
Me and the guy who brought up that topic, we actually share the same clan name, Singochezi
Oh, okay.
Sobabili.
All right.
So I called
All
him the other day. I called him after I saw that conversation. I made my comment, and then I called him. I asked him if do you really believe what you said, or you just being controversial? Because I know he can be. He said to me both.
right.
He said to me both. I said, all right, all right. Well, you have a right to serve to stand by both. But and then you came up, gave me a whole
Yeah.
conversation for the day.
I can't seem to stay away from it. Like as soon as I see something like that, it's like I just get hot fingers and I have to say something about it because it's like I would rather someone correct me for something that I think than think of it and not be corrected and then live it as a yeah
Yeah,
as a recluse.
yes.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a very good approach into things. I know I can come up as quite stubborn when I'm impressed by things. So I always want to indulge deep into the conversation so that I can actually get your whole conversation because I know I'm a stubborn one. If I believe into something that I've invested my time and learn about, and then you come out and see and bring me a better view, you need to be very good in narrating your story so you can convince me otherwise. But also now,
Yeah, go for it, sir.
Also now I realize that I might be an enemy of myself, because with that personality, it disallows me to learn from the second person.
Yeah, look, I mean, I've had conversations about that as well. Like, you have to, in some sense, you have to be as stubborn as possible with your opinion, especially when you've really grinded it down. Because then you go and you grind it down and you reform it, and you know exactly what it means for you, and then you build it up, and then someone comes after one day of you building it up and says, "Oh, by the way, look, the material that you use at the bottom is not good." Then you go, what? How the hell is it not good? Because it's the foundation that you built for yourself. So you can't just allow people. Man, sorry. You can't just allow people to. Yeah, sorry, man.
You're deconstructing my entirety. Because now you coming to me, I'm at point 10, you telling me that the brick at point 1 is wrong. So it means the deconstruction of my entire existence needs to come into place. And I have to be hesitant.
Exactly.
And I have to sit back. But give people a context. Person who's watching this who doesn't know the context of what we were talking about.
Yeah. Well, let me go through that, and then we'll let me just finish up, and then we can give context. But anyway, this guy, I'm gonna punch him in the face. Okay, you can hear me, so I don't have to. You can hear me, right?
Yes, correctly.
Let me just ignore him. So anyway, so like I was saying, like you really have to be convinced as to why you need to change something that you took so long to change, because it's your identity and it's your safety, right? So when something is going to then challenge your safety, you have to then act accordingly to that, right? It's like with anything. It's like if someone comes and starts to play around with your child safety, you are going to then act. You don't care if that person is you. The first thing is to act in, and then after that you say, okay, now let me understand. Because if you're gonna have to break it down, you're gonna have to undo so many things, and then have to get a rethink of what it is, and then build it up. Which is why people just don't have the time capacity, or even just the fortitude to even do something like that, because it's just easier to ignore them, to say I'm right and I will ignore you. The problem with that is that you then live with that wrong cement or that wrong structure in your whole system. Which is why, again, it's like if you go on social media and you have people that have the same narrative all the time, and you tell them, you give them new information, they don't want to accept that, because that means that they have to go back 10 years ago. And going back too far back. But the problem with that is that you go back 10 years and you rebuild, or you go forward 10 years and then you've got 20 years to go back.
On. Correctly. And yeah, it's a whole thing of learning. It's a whole process of learning. In order to learn, you need to be willing to change your mind.
Yes, but you need to be stubborn with it as well before you change it.
Also, that is where the contradiction is. That is where the contradiction is, because in order for you to be identified as what kind of a person you are, what you stand for, what you are exactly, you need to actually have some sort of a backbone, something that you stand for. That is where the stubbornity needs to be. So it contradicts here and there. So you need to be, rather say, a flexible person.
Yeah, for sure. You need to be strong and flexible. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, what the alternative is to be flexible. Then that means that whatever anyone tells you, you accept. Then what's the point of learning anything? Because you're just going to unlearn it anyway. And then you have no basis in which to do things in life. Because everything in life that you need to do, you need to make a decision. And then once you make the decision, you make the next, and you make the next. So if you make a decision and then you don't know why you're doing it, and someone comes and says, oh no, you shouldn't have done it and do it differently, then you're just going to make every decision all the time, and that interrupts your safety.
I always preach the part that you just touched on. You need to know the people around you, not what they've done, but how they do it. I need to be able to identify your acts in your absence. I need to be able to defend an act that is alleged to be your act because I know your pattern of acting, your pattern of thinking, your pattern of doing, your pattern of saying. That is how you get to know people. We cannot live in the world where we say anything is possible with anyone. Then it means we stand for nothing. Of learning people around you, you need to be able to identify their pattern of thought, because that is where everything descends from their thought. You need to identify their pattern of thought. I need to say, they say, no, Lou did this. I'm saying, nah, that is not his style. He would have approached this like this, like this, like this, like this, like this, like this. Well, I stand to be disappointed should you have acted otherwise, but I need to know that something very fundamental happened to change your way of doing things. Otherwise, in your how you do things.
Yeah, spot on, bro. I mean, look at that. That's even true physically, right? Because when you're born and you're a baby, you have all the world at your parent, right? And then you start to walk and you start to touch and you start to not touch and you start to do wrong and right things. So your body then actually then starts to form who you are and then takes away all the things that are bad for you. So every time you get up and you try to walk, you fall on the floor. Then you go, okay, that's not the way to walk. That's not the way to walk. That's not the way to walk. Until you're able to then start walking, then your brain says, okay, this is the cadence to walk now. This is how we're supposed to do things. This arm moves and that leg moves and that part of the body moves, so on and so forth. Then you get to about, say, 10, 15, and then you get an injury, let's say, right? Now something breaks that whole cycle. Now you go, shit, my knee's sore. And then your body says, well, then if we walk, then your knee's sore, that's going to be a problem. So then you have to limp, right? But then limping is not walking. Right? So that's that concept that we're talking about, is that then your whole foundation, if there's someone comes in and says there's something wrong at the bottom, if you're going to keep going with that, you're walking with a limp, you're walking with something that's wrong, right? So then your body says, well, what are you going to do? Then you have to go and then get treated for it. And then once you're treated for that, then you can go back and walk again. So you need to have a certain structure in which to base on, right? So that then you don't get thrown into everything because you're going to be unsafe. And if you have no structure, then you're just a little baby that knows nothing and is good for nothing. Yeah.
Now, that's a problem. That's a problem with learning through teaching. Some people argue that when you learn, you need to observe, and then you analyze and you interpret your own beings. When you learn through such structures, that is where what we call indoctrination comes in, where the parent structures, and I think this was your argument on the conversation we had on Facebook, where we can have the whole structure based on what the parents believed in, how the parents interpreted things, how the parents viewed things, and then we join in their structure. Now, should that structure be wrong, we're gonna carry on doing the wrong thing without questioning, without making sense of it, without making logical sense of it. On a personal basis, I'm in that journey right now with my family. It's something really important to them, and it's something that is totally against my will. Religion, religion tend to divide people at some points, you see. So there's aspects that when we do this, they include that. When we do that, they include this. And I'm against it. I say it makes no sense. We do this, or they do that, we just do that. We do not combine the two. But now, you are this one who comes into the structure and start to question the problem. People are going to be resistant of these things, you see. So yeah, it is a whole long process, but it's worth it.
Yeah, for sure, man. Look, since you touched on that personally, I think that's where my thought processes also kind of stem from, because I was brought up in a non-religious home. So in the book sense, let's say, there was no talk of it. There's no conversation of a higher being, no nothing. It's legit just wake up. Okay, well, what are you doing today? Okay, do you think it's right? Do you think it's wrong? Okay, cool, go for it. And there's no real kind of basis on, oh, but whatever, the book says this and this guy says that you should do this. There's no real, of course, you obviously can't divorce religion completely in life, because even routine is basically a religion as well if you do it long enough. But it wasn't indoctrinated. It wasn't something that was like, okay, so this is how things should be because this person said this. It's like, no, not really. It's like, okay, well, look, we say this. What do you think? And it's like, no, I think I understand what your thought process is, but I'll have to see it some more for myself to find out if it's true or not. And you go through life and you go, yeah, you know what? My dad told me that if I try to touch a hot stove, it's gonna burn me, and I didn't believe him. It made sense though because I know when stuff is hot, it burns. But when I did it myself, it burnt. Cool. There we go. So that makes sense. But obviously, some things in life you can't really make all the mistakes yourself. You have to
Exactly.
kind of make
I
logical
will,
sense from someone else.
just to, I will move a little bit. My charger seems to be low. I'll just drag my laptop to where I'm sitting and then just charge from the laptop.
All right,
All right.
all right, all right.
All right, now we can continue with the conversation. It's fine. It's just a
All right,
slow
all right.
movement. I just
Sure,
like wanted to alert you.
sure, my brother. Sure, no stress. But yeah, so yeah, we can get into it quickly. So basically, what the topic was about the intaulo, ne? So what I would call payment and yeah. So what I would call payment and you wouldn't. So I think it's very important then to start from there with the definition and then kind of move forward. Otherwise, we're gonna have conflicting,
Yes.
yeah, almost like baseless conversation. So yeah, the topic was about a guy that was saying that he wouldn't pay in Tlaul, and I was like, yeah, that I totally agree with that. I can make sense with that. And then yeah, and that's how we got to the debate. So tell me your viewpoint, I'll tell you mine, and then you can explain to me why
All right.
you can explain.
If you have two people having a conversation and one is defending the cultural structures and one is questioning the cultural structures, I'm the one who is defending the cultural structures, and I have
Okay.
reasons for that. I've given myself a task to do that, because currently the generation that we live in needs that. We live in the middle. We
Uh-huh.
live in the neutral position, because now we have the migration from the rural areas to the city. We have now a generation that was pure born in the city, and then we have a generation that was born in the rural areas, and then we have this
Yeah.
generation that moved in the middle of their lives to the city. So
Mhm.
lines are blurry, things are not understood, you see. So I always make it, no, I
Mhm.
have a bit of understanding about culture. Let me just advocate on that
Mhm.
side. So my whole take on
Mhm.
the whole thing is this. Ranger, he comes up with that statement. By the time I see the engagement on Facebook is already huge. And there's some people insulting him, there's people questioning him. And I'm like, you know what, let me just throw in my view as well on how I see this thing.
Mhm.
So now, when
By
a
the way, I
woman,
also don't know him.
you also,
I also don't know him. I just saw that comment and then I
okay,
clicked on the yeah. So I just clicked on
okay.
that and then clicked on that, read it, had my say, and then you had your say, and that's how we connect.
He's a controversial person here and there, but he's a hip hop person.
Mhm.
Will not give you a lot of context. He'll just tell you what he believes, and that's it. He stops there. He will not reason a lot with you. And when you go
Yeah,
further with him,
yeah.
he'll just tell you, that is my view, and that's it.
Beka Jerry Kashida.
You take it how you like it, he's done with you. So my view on the
I know
matter
those
is,
guys.
like you mentioned, I
Ubeka
think
nje indaba yakhe ashinda akushinka bana wethu.
actually ngendawo ishtili. um,
That's an OG there. Yeah.
so I'm not sure whether it was you. I engaged with a lot of people. I'm not sure it was you who said you're from Tata. Was it you?
Say that again?
There's a person that I engaged on that conversation who said they were from Umtata. Was it you?
No, it wasn't me.
It
No.
wasn't me. It wasn't you. So there's another person that I had a back-to-back conversation with. So I'm from the side of
Uh-huh.
Mambondweni, and likely,
Mhm.
like we mentioned, that you are as you are because of your background. You understand things the way
Yeah.
you understand them because of the school of thought that you come from. Um,
Yeah.
when a girl gets pregnant, it is normal to us before people like you question it. It is normal to us that the guy will automatically pay the damages. as it is translated to English. And like, I think
The network, this way, the network is not great. I don't think it's on your side. I think
the
that's
rate is
very
high.
important, and I can't.
I'm not sure. Should I move a little? Is it we fine now?
I can hear you. I can barely see you, but I can hear you.
All right. The voice matters more.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So to us, it is normal that when a guy impregnates a girl, they have to pay what is translated as damages. I have a problem with the word damages,
Okay.
but maybe during the conversation, we might get into the definition of concept and the problem that comes with language and the direct translation. I think we mentioned that as well. So as it will be translated in English, it's called damages. It's not damages. My brother impregnated a girl a year before last year, and then they brought the girl over, and then they mentioned that bamzisile ngoba ubhuti intombazana lena uyimoshile, and then they were actually explaining it in a term that means damages. I told them, no, this is not damages. Let's not understand it as a damage. Maybe we understand things from a poverty point of view. When a person is pregnant, we think of the responsibilities that are going to come with that, the money that's going to be involved, the whole scenario. But it's not that. It's actually a family expansion. Let's just understand it from there. So to us, it's normal. Before you come and mention it, it's normal that I impregnate a girl, I pay damages. I sleep with a girl where I'm from. This is not very, maybe you might know about this. So I'm wondering, if a girl sleeps over to my place, and then the parents catches out that she did not sleep at home, they send her back where she slept. The guy needs to pay intlawulo. It's normally a goat. Yeah. But now, because maybe there's this world transition from the in terms of trade from to the systematic to the monetary system.
Yeah.
So now you're gonna pay maybe a fine of 2,000 rand. It's gonna be set a fine in terms of English, but we can also indulge in that as well. That is the fine number 2 that you have. The one is for pregnancy. The other one is for having a girl sleeping over your place. Also, if you're dating my sister, and then I catch you intimate with my sister, whether you guys were standing in the corner hugging each other and all that, I have a right to hold you. And then I cuff you, I take you home, and then we send the message to your family that you were caught in this particular place, with this particular place, in this particular family, and then your family must come pay a certain portion. It's gonna be, I think it's a cow, to release you, and we have a right to starve you. They know that we're going to starve you. That's what makes them to actually act fast, because they know we're gonna starve you. You're gonna sit in that house alone. You're gonna be tied up, just sitting there alone. So they actually respond.
Stab you. So almost like a torture.
No, they're not gonna. We're not gonna do anything to you. We're just gonna isolate you in a different room. We're not gonna feed you.
Okay.
No, we might.
Okay, so to starve you, not stab you.
No, stuff. Yo, we can't stab you. No. It's not that violent. Let me give you the context that I've, because I grew up in a generation when this was phasing away, you see. But now, because of curiosity, I obviously questioned here and there, why is it done? How is it done? How is the whole process go about? So after you have been caught, you can now, when you pay the damage, let's say you pay that cow, you can now be given landlu kuthiwa yintanga. Okay, now intanga yindlu yomfana okanye intombi apha, yindlu ebucala. It's like a separate house. It's like your room. You're gonna be officially in a room. So now that girl that you're caught with, they get intanga where you as a guy, you can actually visit her at her home.
Regardless of whether you're married or not.
Regardless whether you're married or not. Now,
and then who pays for that?
Sorry?
Who pays for that?
Who pays for the damages?
For intanga. So yeah.
For indlu then. So there is this house there. Let's say normally in our family structures, we always have extra houses than the people that actually reside in the houses. We always have.
Okay.
I just had to drop a call. You
Sure,
always
sure.
have this extra house that is
Mm-hmm.
that is just there for maybe if there's visitors. Whatever. No,
Okay.
I need to take this call, my G.
Okay, cool. Take it and